Well, so I've never been more amazed than to watch the political climate today. Everybody's got opinions about everything, and everybody's running around just as much as they can, screaming and yelling about this thing and that thing, racial politics, and gun rights, and Second Amendment rights, and First Amendment rights, and you shut up because you're this person, you're this color, you can't say this, you're that color, you can't do this. Just constantly, we just keep seeing this identity politics. But the one political point of view that is front and center that no one's allowed to disagree with. When I grew up as a young man, we were told, like for gay rights and for homosexual rights, we were told, well, we're not trying to force our way into marriage. Yes, that's a husband and wife issue. That's a church issue. We're not trying to force our way into that. We just want to be recognized. And so many people tried to push that, and it really didn't work out too well. People understood what was going on, or at least they said they did. And then we hit a culture where it was wrong to even question or even talk about sexual identity politics. We are now in this culture to where if anyone speaks about it in a negative way and says, well, what is it doing for the common good of the people? I mean, that's the evolutionary point of view, is the common good. So what's it doing for the common good of the nation, of the people? You ask those questions, and people say, wait a minute, you can't talk like that. You can't ask those questions. That's insensitive. That's hurtful. Somebody might get offended, because the trigger word today is offense. If you are offending someone, well, we have a constitutional right to be free from offense. So you can't talk about these things, especially not sexual identity politics. But what's amazing is we as Americans are now forced to accept and laud and approve of and promulgate. We are forced to, for you don't know what that word means, it's to forward and advance the cause or the idea of any particular thing. It's no longer that you just don't sit by and say anything about it. You need to jump and cheer. You need to shout. You need to love. You need to enjoy those things that is societally accepted now. I mean, take for example, when you have young people getting on television, running around, screaming, death to the NRA, kill the NRA, things like that, and it's politically motivated for sure, but it's also accepted discourse. We don't agree with you, so kill them. We don't agree with you, so wipe them out. If you guys have ever seen the movie 1984, that was the chant of the consensus group of all the people. They were forced to think like they were told to think, and their actions were forced. Anyone that did not react in the way they were forced to by the oligarchy, by those that are in charge, the proletariat government, those that did not do what they were called to do were subjugated. They were brought out, and they were tortured or re-educated or used for a political purpose by forcing them to admit the wickedness they were doing. This movie 1984, you guys probably need to watch that, because it is one of those movies that talks about who we are today. See, in our society, we're not allowed to disagree. We're not allowed to say we don't agree. The sexual identity politics, for example. When people jump up on stage or get on the televisions or get on the news media or get in front of the cameras, they get in front of society, and they flaunt their sexual expression. I don't care if you're heterosexual, if you're homosexual, bisexual, trisexual, whatever. We've turned into a society that identifies itself by the people that we like to have sex with. That's a private issue. I'm a white, middle-aged white guy. You want to identify me? Okay, I'm a middle-aged white guy. I'm a Christian. I'm an American. Okay? I don't have to identify myself as a man that, you know, spends his time with his wife and all the other sexual identities of myself. Why would you want to be degraded to just being, I'm this sexual activity? Keep that at home. Keep that in your room. But when you throw that out in front of somebody, you don't, when you open that up, you don't therefore now have the right to deny that person's ability to accept or reject it. In sexual identity politics, you see people using their sexuality, the Bruce Jenner situation. Oh, I'm not a woman. The greatest woman in America last year was Bruce Jenner. What does that say about womanhood? You know, the feminist movement lost its complete argument when they allowed Bruce Jenner to be, you know, Time and everybody else's greatest woman of the year. They lost their argument because they're no better than men. Men are no better than women. There's no difference. All you have to do is put this body part here and put that body part there, and boom, presto, change-o, I'm a woman, you're a man. You know, what is it that makes you, you? Is it your sexual activity? Or is it who you are as a imago Dei, somebody made in the image of God, with uniqueness and beauty and just the wonderful attributes of life that God gave you? I think that's the latter. So when somebody shoves their sexual identity in front of me, I have the right to reject it or accept it. They have movies like 50 Shades of Grey, now 50 Shades Darker, 50 Shades Deeper, 50 Shades More, 50 Shades whatever. They're going to play that one to death because everybody likes the sexual identity. But they're shoving it in front of somebody's face, and now I have the right to reject it. I don't have the obligation to blindly accept it and follow it because we live in America. And in America, we're actually allowed to say, I disagree, I dissent. I don't want to walk with the flow of the people. And the problem is there's a large group of people that are running around screaming and shouting, if you disagree with us, you need to die. If you disagree with us, you need to be re-educated. If you disagree with us, your opinion, your truth doesn't matter. What you're saying doesn't matter. Your ideas don't matter, and you shouldn't be allowed to speak. We live in a world, like it or not, we live in a nation where we have a constitutional right to bear arms. And people are trying to say, no, you don't. Why not? We do. Actually, we have the constitutional right. Well, if you think that you're going to live by that right, you're evil, wicked, and all this other stuff, and you deserve to die. So we don't have the responsibility of discourse, of discussion. You know, I hear people talk about, let's get into conversations. Let's have an honest and true conversation. Let's be honest with one another. Let's have an actual conversation about these things. But know this, I don't have to agree with you. I can completely reject what you're going to say. If you're going to have any kind of political agenda, political system, you need to realize that unless it's a total, complete 1984 type dictator, totalitarian government, where even thought crime is crime, unless you're going to have that, if you're going to uphold freedom, you're going to have to demand the right for all people to be able to have and express their opinion freely without the threat of violence against them. So if you're going to throw out your sexual politics, you need to accept that I can reject your sexual politics. If you're going to throw out your political politics of any form, you need to accept that I can reject your form of political ideology. Thank you. That was just my 2 cents worth. Thank you.